Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Sow Love. I am here out in my garden, of course, and I am about to experiment with a new method of composting. So the Bokashi composting method is something fairly new to me. I've done a little bit of research on how it works. Essentially, you can compost anything, so things that you typically wouldn't be able to put in your standard compost bin, like meat and even dairy, you can put in your compost bin with using the Bokashi brand. So this is essentially a rice bran that has been fermented using milk, essentially. So I watched a YouTuber create her own Bokashi, and it was about maybe a good month process of making her own brand. So I figured I'd purchase the Bokashi and see how it works, and then maybe I'll venture into making my own brand. But this works by or through a process of fermentation. So you have your compost or a bucket, which I actually have drilled holes in the bottom of to allow the liquid from the Bokashi to drain into this bottom catch bin. And that liquid actually you can use to fertilize your garden as well. So I think that the ratio is maybe like 1. I forgot what the ratio is. I'll try to put it in the comments. But it's a small amount of the Bokashi to a certain amount of the water. So you can preserve the Bokashi liquid in a brown glass bottle and use it throughout the season in your garden. There are other benefits to using Bokashi like around your house for other things, but my primary interest is for the garden, of course. So you fill the bucket up, you would layer in between the bran that I'll show you in a little bit, and then you put the lid on for 2 to 3 weeks and leave it untouched in a dark place, preferably a cool dark place. So through the process of fermentation, the bacteria will start to break down the food and whatever you put in your bin, and then essentially you can bury it in your garden. What I'm going to do is actually put it in another bin with some compost and some dirt and allow it to break down in the bins just so I can see it better. But it has a lot of benefits, just like you would use standard compost for in your garden. And then, notice I said about 2 to 3 weeks, so it breaks down a whole lot quicker than your standard compost would. So I've already pre-drilled 4 buckets with holes. I think I put 6 holes to 6 holes in the bottom. And then of course this bottom bin doesn't have any holes. I have my lids, and I've filled these with some of the compost from one of my bins that wasn't breaking down as fast, which could be because I wasn't really mindful of putting the correct amount or ratio of greens and browns. So it was breaking down, but not as quickly as I'd like to see it. So I've taken some things out of that bin, put it in here along with in this wheelbarrow. So this is where I had the stuff that I put in the buckets. And then there's more stuff in this wheelbarrow, which you'll see me shoveling into these buckets in just a second. I also have some food scraps that I've been collecting that I'll add also. So I have put 1 layer Hey y'all, so this is let's see, Monday. I started the Bokashi bins on Saturday, so I'm going to just kind of check on them and see how much liquid has drained at the bottom. So they are back here behind my greenhouse, which is for the most part pretty shady and like the cooler part of the yard. So I'm just gonna lift up and see. So here's what that bin is looking like. It is liquid. Ooh, a lot of liquid in that one. There's that bin. And the smell is definitely not pleasant. But it does smell like fermentation if you've ever smelled like fermented food. So there's what that one's looking like. It looks, all of them are the same color and the smell is the same in all of them. And so this is the last one. There's that one. I don't know if you can see that there's like kind of a little film on the top, in which that same film has been on all 4 of them. So what I'll do is check back and just kind of keep giving you updates leading up till week 2 when it's time to open them up. All right, I'll check back with you guys. Hey guys, welcome back to Sow Love. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining me today. Today is Bokashi Day. So about 2 weeks ago, I did start these Bokashi bins. So it's time to go ahead and put them in with some compost. I'm hoping that'll fit all back into this bin. Normally with Bokashi, you would plant it like directly into your soil. However, I'm wanting to have it more in a controlled environment. So I want to put it back in this bin so it can compost down. And if I have any extra, which I probably will since I have 4 bins in this fairly small container, I will go ahead and plant it in an area in the garden. So let me take out this larger sticks so I have a little more room in this bin. And so what I've done is added some compost that I purchased, compost and manure that I purchased actually from Walmart, into the bottom. And what I'll do is maybe layer it a little bit in between the bins. So I did put a brick on top of 2 of them just to kind of see if that would help with anything. Let me give you a closer view of what it's looking like in the bin. So there's the bin. You can see the Bokashi in there. There's another bin. I've already opened these up. Smell is still about the same. Kind of general fermenting smell. You can see some mold, which is normal for the Bokashi bins. And another bin here. All right, so that's what the bins are looking like. So that's what the bins are looking like. Now it's time to go ahead and get this into my compost bin. Let me get my other glove. And the liquid at the bottom, that's what that's looking like. There's a little bit of mold on the top. Dump you on in. So if you recall, prior, this was the start of some compost. So it had broken down some already. Push that down. See if I can get a little more in there. So those two bins are empty. Just see how much more I can get. Just add a little bit of this one. So still the smell, if you're curious, smells like fermentation, which is a good sign. Now, I'll go ahead and leave what I'll do is leave this in this bin for another couple weeks, and the idea is that this should be essentially compost ready to go in the garden. So fingers crossed that goes well. I am going to find a spot in the garden for these unless I can find another bin. I kind of would rather keep it in a bin. So no, I'm not going to put them in the garden. I'll find a spot. I'll find a bin for it to go in. So I'll give you another update in a few weeks on how this is looking, and you know, maybe I'll do a soil test just to see what the numbers are looking like, and should be ready to use in the garden. So thank you again for being here. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already for more garden updates, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, you guys.